G'day, and welcome to another episode of Kiwi Car Life. And last year on the channel, I restored a Ford Falcon. And no, sadly, I'm not going to be making another crazy montage for you today. But I am hopeful that I'll have more success with this Ford as compared with the last one that left me stranded multiple times, having to be rescued by my Skoda and my BMW. It achieved consistently the worst fuel consumption I have ever seen in any car I've ever owned, and it managed to be slower than my 1980s 5 Series. Nonetheless, while I'm obviously quite biased against Australian Fords due to my particularly poor experience with that XR6, Ford of Europe, on the other hand, is for all intents and purposes a completely different company. They still seem to get all of their interior plastics from melted down milk bottles, just like the Australians do, giving you the sense that all of the interior plastics are hanging on by a thread from the moment they leave the factory. But what's found underneath the paper mache skin is pure European engineering. The Focus ST I reviewed, while plagued by lengthy gears and a cheap interior, it handled like a Civic Type R, communicated the road surface beautifully through the steering, and revved over 7,200 RPM thanks to its Cosworth engine. The Focus RS was blisteringly fast, gorgeous to look at, and was draped in every performance mark you could ask for, like Cosworth, Brembo, and Recaro. The Fiesta ST was also very fun, giving Ken Block vibes with its fat 5-spoke wheels. And late last year down in Dunedin, I completed the set of hot Euro Fords by reviewing a Mondeo ST220. Featuring a V6 engine co-developed with Porsche and Cosworth and a close ratio 6-speed gearbox by Getrag, it delivered all of the amazing feedback, balance and features you'd expect from a BMW, but in a more affordable package, really putting it in a class of its own. The ST220, despite not being much of a Ford fan, was always a secret hero car of mine, as I've always been a fan of compact sports sedans that you can use every day. And after reviewing one, it certainly didn't disappoint, so much so that I decided to buy this car here for just $4,000. Now, as expected, any $4,000 performance Ford with 182,000 Ks on the clock that surprisingly cost just 55 grand new isn't exactly going to be perfect. So as is the tradition on Kiwi Car Life, we're going to spend a few days going over this car with a fine-toothed comb to iron out all of its issues, and by the end we should have ourselves a pretty fantastic condition 3-litre 6-speed manual sports sedan on our hands that I'll be able to enjoy for a few months before releasing it back into the hands of the general population again. And hopefully it doesn't end up with a similar fate to the last Ford that I restored on the channel. And we begin on the interior, where we find a number of problems. The driver's side window regulator is broken, with the window being held in place by some old Panadol tablets. The cup holder here refuses to go back into the dashboard. The reverse lockout on the shifter is broken. There's nothing stopping you just putting it straight into reverse. There's a couple of rips on the seat and on the shift knob, and of course it needs a jolly good clean in here. So let's head out to pick apart to get the parts that we need to get this interior fixed up, and then give it a good clean before moving on to the mechanicals and the exterior. I began by removing the door card to figure out what had gone wrong with the window regulator. One advantage with Fords generally not being terribly well built is that they're super easy to pull apart. There's just a few screws around the outside and a couple in the door handle and cup holder. With the door card off, I pulled away the foam cover and removed the regulator, where I discovered the cable had snapped.
That is ruined, man.
Unfortunately, there wasn't a single regulator at Pick a Part in Wellington, so I bought one off of AliExpress instead, and with that installed a week later, now finally I had a working driver's window. I also got a new key emblem from China too. Then I removed the shifter trim to access the broken cup holder. It seems like these cup holders not closing is a common fault, and after pulling it apart, I couldn't figure out why it wasn't staying shut, so I just replaced it with one from Pick a Part that did work. I then figured out that someone obviously didn't like the reverse lockout, as they'd flipped it around so it no longer worked. With it now around the right way, it made it much easier to get into first, and while there I also trimmed away some of the worn fabric on the shifter, and I fixed the broken passenger side vent that was stuck shut. Then I started vacuuming the interior. Fortunately, because this is a Euro Ford, like with most European cars, it actually has really nice quality carpet that's very easy to clean. With the carpets vacuumed and all the dashboard trims and windows wiped down, the interior, apart from the hideous Japanese Alpine stereo and speakers poking out of the dash,
was all back together and everything worked flawlessly.
There's also quite a few mechanical issues that need to be sorted out as well. The previous owner, before selling it to me, changed the drive belt and the fuel pump and also did an oil and filter change. But when he took it in for a while on a fitness, it failed on all 4 tyres and a few bulbs. Now, fortunately, he replaced all the bulbs that needed to be done, but he didn't do anything about the tyres. I found some good condition used tyres on Facebook Marketplace, and with them installed, it flew through the Wona Fitness, rendering all of the mechanical issues sorted.
Then I moved on to the exterior. I began by attempting to improve a dent on the front guard, which naturally, because I'm not a panel beater, didn't go particularly well. But I did manage to install a new Ford badge in the front grille and touch up the ST220 logo. Then I set to work washing the exterior. Fortunately, it wasn't overly dirty as the car had clearly been relatively well looked after. However, the big problem was the paint fade. Unfortunately, New Zealand sun is pretty harsh, and like with my BMW 530i, Audi S4 and Porsche Cayenne, black cars in particular that get really hot tend to fade, and this car was no exception. To make matters worse, someone had clearly had to go at rattle can painting the roof, which arguably looked worse. So, after washing and clay barring the whole exterior, I set to work thoroughly polishing the paint. I knew the roof probably wouldn't come up particularly well, but the bonnet, after a thorough polish, started to look a lot better, thankfully. After a lick of tyre shine and a bit of touch-up paint on the front end, along with the removal of the hideous Japanese plate brackets and the installation of some Ford plate frames, finally, the Mondeo ST220 was complete.
Driving the Ford Mondeo ST220. Let's hear this 3-litre V6. What a nice noise. I can't say that the ST220 is the fastest 3-litre powered car that I've ever driven. Certainly my TT and my old BMW 130i were significantly faster. It's only got 169 kilowatt and 280 newton meters. But the appeal with this engine is the super light flywheel. That means you can just go from 6th to 3rd perfectly quickly and smoothly, and just that sound. It's such a nice sonorous noise that just makes overtaking and accelerating down on-ramps such a joy, even if the speedo isn't necessarily moving all that quickly. And the 2nd to 3rd change on this car is one of the best I've ever seen. You'll hear there the revs just barely drop, a little more than 1,000 RPM, and so when you wind out 2nd and then you knock it up into 3rd, it stays right in the power band, and it's just so incredibly satisfying. And the other big appeal with this car, having reviewed one a few months ago and then now owning one today, is the incredible feedback that the car gives you. It's not trying to be the fastest car in the world, and it certainly isn't, but what it does do really well is the steering feel, the cable throttle that responds absolutely beautifully, the nice feeling 6-speed manual transmission, and the surprisingly stellar handling. This thing really nicely carves through corners, and with those short 2nd, 3rd and 4th gears, you can well and truly exploit the V6 this car has to offer down a road like this without going too outrageously quickly. It's not a perfect car. Fundamentally, it is not overly quick. You do find yourself having to really rev this thing out to get it moving because it doesn't make very much torque down low. And the biggest issue is just its Fordness. The build quality on the interior is really not particularly great. It doesn't hold up overly well over time. The seats are sort of ripping and falling apart, which you just wouldn't expect from any Japanese or European car at only 180,000 Ks, unless it's been particularly badly looked after. But this overall is actually a pretty tidy car, and the fact that it's just ripping and falling apart and everything's broken on the inside is just Ford for you. That's unfortunately just the nature of owning a car like this. And so, while I do really love the way this thing drives, it's not something that I'd necessarily want to keep long term, just because I feel that something German or even something kind of Euro-Japanese like a Honda Accord Euro or a Subaru Legacy 3-litre R, they kind of offer a similar experience, a nice looking sports sedan with a few features on the inside, but they just don't fall apart after 10 years on the road. But nonetheless, this Mondeo ST220 has been an absolute blast. I've really enjoyed getting it restored back to its former glory, and now get to enjoy that lovely Duotech V6 and just genuinely a really nice, really engaging, comfortable, easy car to drive. And with that, I shall leave you with the sound of the Ford 3-litre V6, and we'll see you next time.